we'll start. Let's stand for a pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Our first item is a review and approval of today's agenda.
I'll move.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
Any additions? If not, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carries. We have two consent items. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
All seconds. Any questions regarding those two? If not, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carries. Board issue forum, Joan?
Well, last Tuesday we had the Township Association meeting, and our prestigious Gary was one of the main speakers.
Yes.
And then Wednesday I went to a Narcan training that our public health is putting on. Good information, and then once you go through the training, you get a box that has 2 doses in it. I probably not winter time, but otherwise I think, I'm going to have that with me all the time. You just never know what you might run into. And then we had our District 3 meeting over in East Grand Forks on Thursday. Good representation. We were only missing 1 county. So, and then we had voted on our priority items. And let's see, that was, I guess it didn't, it was solid waste, property tax levy and mandate relief, and mental health were the top 3 vote getters. And then bonding for transportation infrastructure was a fairly close 4th. So that'll give us some direction now in December at our annual meeting. And then also it's good for our board of directors, because it's, we get a good feel then of what are the important issues that our counties throughout the state are, what they feel are important to them. So, and then I've got the rest of my week is busy, so on the road again.
Yes. Mark?
Nothing to report, and I apologize for not being here last meeting. I was running on empty, and just if I would have been here, I would have slept through the whole meeting. So
That would not have been good.
I apologize.
It wouldn't have been on screen.
So,
But you have no competition this election.
so that's it. Thank you.
All right. Last Thursday, I received a call from Ron Dennison, our finance director, informing me that he was going to inform Chuck and the county that his retirement date has been chosen in December 16th of this year. He will be retiring. So obviously we need to move on with that. A couple of things have come to the front anyway with the audit report, some recommendations there. The OBDO folks, financial experts, I believe have been on site and have a report for that. And we're still planning on meeting with the financial committee later this morning, right, Chuck? I believe is the
the ABDO
people anyway, right? So we will move on, but certainly appreciate the many years he served the county. Townships, yeah, a smaller group by maybe 100
Yeah,
or
I think
150, but that's common. And I think the main issue was the issues that they're having with the state and kind of a review of options that they have as far as insurance. So that continues to apparently be an issue. District 3, East Grand Forks, good conversations. We have a lot of the same concerns, and yet there are others that have unique concerns that really could affect us in the future.
Mhm.
So that those discussions are very, very important. And then yesterday, Warren and I met with our attorney, and I believe we're going to be meeting with her a little bit later to give us all an update on the result of that mediation. That was, of course, relating to the juvenile roof damage. So more information on that. Warren.
Not a whole lot. The MPO meeting that was supposed to have been held last Wednesday was canceled for lack of business. And of course, talked about District 3 meeting and the mediation and such. So that's my week was pretty much yesterday. Yesterday was kind of a trying day, but we'll live with that.
Paul.
Couple of things. Of course, that was my very first township meeting, which I was not terribly impressed. Um, District 3,
Neither was I.
District 3, that was good. I just get perturbed by little things, and I really felt for the folks from Monoma and their conversation, and then
Oh, yes.
the insurance, the MCIT, and what was the other insurance or whether, and when they tell you just to kind of take a neutral stand if you're not involved, that's politics as usual, and I don't like that. So I wasn't gonna elaborate that much on that, but that's just how I look at things. And then yesterday was Dancing Sky. That was very interesting. A lot of stuff they just went. It's the year end stuff for them, so they just went through everything, all their policies, and passing all the new policies. And of course, we talked before about the changing from Lutheran Social Services to the NSI distributing centers. That's going well. They're going to take over the entire food production deal at the first of the year. I did learn that this board is strictly 100% an advisory board. That I was very, I wasn't too, why so many people, and they were adding 8 more people to this board. Okay, so now you're gonna add 8 more people to an advisory board, which there is only 2 people on that board that are on the National Board of Aging for Northwest Human Development. So 2 of the people that are of the 30 are on this Northwest Human Developmental Board. So even though the person that's on the board said, hey, they take everything that the Dancing Sky says, the advisement, and everything always gets passed. It's still that just an advisory board with so many people. I just thought that's what I took away from that. There was an hour and a half long of listening to them, and then all of a sudden to find out it was just an advisory board. But otherwise, good. Remember, open enrollment ends the end of this month for Medicare.
Comes up quick every year.
Every year. That's all I got.
I was reminded by all our mail we received regarding uh, supplemental insurances, and voting, of course, is coming up. Has been going on for a week or so, but make sure you get your vote in by the 5th, right? All right, we will move on then for our first item, and that's our sheriff, but we're running a little bit early for that.
I think he's out in the hall.
Oh,
I thought I seen him. Maybe I'm wrong.
well, Chuck's gonna check that out.
All their cars are out in the parking lot.
It was kind of a wet walk in here.
Was it? I get 3 miles from home and I forgot my phone. So I had to turn around and go back and get it. I just had to. I can't leave without it.
Oh,
So, and I tried not to speed on my way here.
well, hopefully you were successful.
I was.
There you go.
I didn't speed very much.
There was a patrolman sitting in one of the intersections on 2 coming over here. I was only going 70, so and I couldn't see very well. Rain and
Look at them all.
Welcome.
oh, this must be that.
Oh yeah, we've got some ceremonial
Oh,
items on our agenda.
morning.
Morning, morning. We're running a little early today, which is sometimes surprising.
It's nice when you're ahead of schedule.
Please.
Well, I just want to make sure all our guests that are looking at coming at 8:30 are still here, so let us know.
How many new deputies do we have?
Like a couple.
Must be one,
Three?
2, 3.
3, 4, 5, 6. I'll take them all.
3 deputies left in the service.
Well, that's excellent.
How are you?
They're
How is the harvest?
numb. Glad it's done.
Can't be much left in there.
No, I think East Side has about 300 acres to go yet. Maybe not even that much.
Was I wrong?
Yeah,
Sorry.
he's not. They know he's here somewhere, but he's not out in the hallway. So. not quite know how to
Doing
get
his
that.
hair and makeup.
Oh, hair and makeup.
I looked in the men's room. He's not there.
Should have looked at the other one.
I was going to do it.
In our time, Chuck, maybe you could share a little bit about Abdo. I'm assuming made their meeting here, and
They
How
came
things
in
go?
the week before last. Kind of went through all the departments, talked a lot with the frontline staff about their processes. They've done this many places. They kind of know what they're looking for, and of course, they were here looking at the workflow back in 2016, so they're familiar with us. So I've had one conversation with them, follow up this afternoon or later this morning with their assessment and the things that need to be done here in short order. Um, yeah, I mean, there's always things to work on. I think you got wind of that from the audit, and then the order that we need to do some things in to make sure that we've got um, the accounting correct and up to date will be helpful. Certainly helpful to me for doing the budget. That's almost my budget report today, since I
I
haven't.
did change things around a little bit.
Yeah, I really haven't worked too much on that since early last week. I got a ways to go, and I need to start getting in front of you with what I'm seeing. I apologize for that, but my attention has gotten diverted here a little bit. Perhaps if you want, we could reappoint Kurt Ellison as the Veteran Services Officer. I've got that under my item.
Mm-hmm.
Kurt's done an excellent job. By statute, his term is up every 4 years, so it's kind of a formality, but I think he's just been outstanding. Both he and Kelly do a great job in that office and help us quite a bit. So I certainly would recommend a motion to
So we
reappoint.
can make that?
Yeah.
Let's do
Yeah,
that.
I'll do it. I'll make a motion.
Second.
And we do have a second. Yeah, he certainly gets out too. I mean, it's on the radio, right?
He's above and beyond. They don't get any better.
Yeah, and he's been very involved in, like the state organization and stuff too, so.
My dad had kept basically no records,
All right.
and he jumped in and found everything,
Everything.
and researched and walked my wife and I through the process, and it was, I mean, he's stellar, in my opinion.
He helped when my husband's uncle had passed away. None of his kids live in Minnesota. And one of his daughters that lives in Tennessee reached out to him to help get a stone for him. And I mean, and
Yeah.
he took care of that. And
My son is in South Carolina, and the veteran service officers there do nothing. So, and he's originally from here. He was deployed when he was here. I said, call Kurt.
And he
Took
took
care
care
of
of it.
All of it. All of it.
yeah,
He's above and beyond.
exactly.
So
Well, let's vote. All those in favor then say aye.
I
Opposed, motion carried. Excellent. Sheriff Tedman,
Good morning.
you brought a good group today.
Big day for us today.
It is.
so
awesome. I'm
Big day
excited.
for the
I'm
county.
excited too. We'll start off with the sheriff's report for September 24. We have our documented services, paid services of $3,379.96, and no charge services of $1,310. And then for our transports for the month of September, we had 137 hours, almost 138 hours, and we had a total of 6,380.
We can get those up on the screen then.
Oh, great.
I
Gosh.
think you're right at the top,
Okay.
right after the board minutes.
Okay.
You're getting there.
Well, you guys ran through your morning.
We
stuff
did.
quick.
We did.
We're efficient.
Sorry about that.
Oh, that's okay.
That was your whole schedule off. Hopefully we're not too early if people were expecting to come.
I'm not sure if anybody else.
I wouldn't want to.
Okay, I'll just slow down.
Well, you got the whole report, yes, left to go.
Okay.
We'll think up some questions.
Yeah. Okay, here's our documented services for,
Yes.
and then we'll go into our transports for the month of September. And as you can see is we had 137.75 hours of transport with total miles of 6,380.6. And from the month of from the month of September, we went back up to about 2,000 more. So give or take about 1,000, 1,300, 1,500. But as you can see, our medical facility, we've only had 2. Mental health, we had 909.
Wow.
You know, that's way up. And then our in-state prison of 2,609, out-of-state prison 1,302, other counties 547, but medical examiner we had 133. And our federal transport still stays up there with that 880. We've been really busy this month already with the federal transport. So, and again, that takes 2 of our officers or 2 of our deputies each time we transport. So if it's to a medical facility or down to Fargo, it takes 2 of our officers. So
The one mental health was to Maplewood. Is that in cities?
that's
or?
cities. Yep.
Okay.
That's normal for us. We don't, our facilities are a long ways away for,
Mhm.
trying to get a room for that. So, and then our calls for dispatch is 2,272 with our emergency of 680 and then non-emergency of 1,592. Why I never give my reports for such a big group of people. So that's just showing you as they come in.
Don't be nervous.
No kidding. I
Why?
can just feel the heat behind me. So here's our, try to put it up there, but our calls for service for the month, we had a total of 772 with our civil process of 194, damage to property 3, our domestics were 7 with 3 of them being violent, DUI arrest 2, and this is a big one that we're trying to get established more to show of our arrests, because if they get logged in, usually they start off with a careless or somebody driving or a complaint or speeding and turn into that. But that's what we're trying to do, is to show those numbers of what they turn in to be. So all I can report on is what we got. So our info tip line, we had 16 calls come in. Motorist assist, we had 24. Our injuries for September, we had a total of 11 and 10 just being property damage. And then public assist, we had 20. Our school patrol, we still stay busy with that at 79. Each morning they go out, and afternoons our deputies are going to the schools and hanging out and making sure everything is safe for them. So suspicious activities, we had a total of 17 reports come in, and traffic stops for the month is 181, and that's because of these 3 new deputies. They're really active right now.
I
So
wasn't on the list.
huh?
I wasn't on the list this
No.
time.
No, that's good. But yeah, we got a lot of training on. So there you go. It's a 772 total. So, and that would be it.
I know I've asked this before, but I mean, is there a way that we can have like 2 months on the same report so we can see?
I don't know if we can put it on the same, because each report comes off of that CAD of September.
Mhm.
So it just prints that out.
Okay.
To double that, I don't think so. We can give you 2 reports or try to do it,
Yeah.
but
I just,
just to see what it was from the month
Yeah.
before,
mhm.
similar to the transports or something
Yeah.
like that. Okay. I think I've talked to records about that and Michelle, and I'll talk to them again to see if we can get that, but it just spits out that one report for the month each time. So
Okay.
All right, well, let's move on.
okay, and second, item we have today is oath of office for our 3 new deputies. We have Chase Olderbach, Deputy Titan Ingen, and Deputy Alyssa Lang with me today. So. Okay. Okay, please raise your right hand. And then I state your name.
I
Do solemnly swear that I will support
do solemnly swear that I will support
the Constitution of the United States
the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of Minnesota,
and the Constitution of the State of Minnesota.
and that I will faithfully discharge
I will faithfully discharge
the duties of the office of Deputy Sheriff
the duties of the office of Deputy Sheriff
within and for said county and state,
in the aforesaid county and state,
according to the best of my judgment
according to the best of my judgment
and ability,
and ability,
so help me God.
so help me God.
Known by all men by these presents that I, James Stadman, duly elected and qualified county sheriff of the county of Polk, state of Minnesota, reposing special trust and confidence in the fidelity, integrity, and judgment of sheriff of said county and state, do hereby appoint you, Titan Engen, Chase Olderbach, and Alyssa Lang as deputy sheriff in and for said county of Polk until by me revoked. Given under my hand and seal this 22nd day of October. Congratulations. Who missed it?
Jesse.
Jesse. It's really gonna get busy. Jesse, you gotta come in.
Have them say like where they're from and stuff.
Gotta do it all over again.
Gary, ask them to like say a little information about themselves.
Congratulations.
Yeah. So today,
Now it's really hot.
I know. If you'd just like to introduce yourself to the
Yeah,
commission.
please do so. Let's start with Miss Lane.
I'm Alyssa Lang. I'm originally from southeast St. Cloud, small town called Dassel. I went to the University of North Dakota where I graduated with a business degree and criminal justice. And then I went to Alexandria Tech for their summer skills program this past summer.
Very good.
I'm Titan Engen. I'm originally from Gary. I live in Fertile now.
All right.
Right on, buddy.
I went to school at Norman County East for high school, and then I went to Northland 2 years and did their skills. Got a AS and criminal justice.
Very good.
I'm Chase Alderback. I am from East Grand Forks. I'm from the county. I went to school at East Grand Forks. Did 4 years at Bemidji State, and did my skills with Northland. And yeah, I still live in the county. So
Well, excellent. Keeping Polk County safe is our top priority. And obviously you come with a very good team, joining a great team. Congratulations.
Lots of support. Thank you.
Do you have some parents or friends you'd like to introduce?
My parents are Abby and Dan Lang right here.
Nice to meet you.
My parents are Buck and Chris Dangan.
I've got my parents, Jeannie and Larry Alderback, right here.
Oh, nice to meet you.
Very good. Very good. Anything else, Sheriff?
No, this is a great day.
Look at all
It
the good
is.
support you have in the background.
Mhm.
and up front. Awesome.
Well, I know they're very thorough too with their interview process and picking great folks, and you go through a lot of tests and a lot of
Lots of
reviews.
training.
It is a lot of training. So Great.
I think, Lissa, how much you've got left?
About 2 months.
2 months,
Mm.
Chase?
2 days.
whoa,
And Titan? You're done. You're done. Okay, well, great.
Yeah. I'm originally from Princeton, so I know the area.
And I got to meet you all before.
if we're on the road?
Nope, not yet. Not yet.
Well, thank you for the support and for all the parents that came today. So I know it wasn't probably the quickest trip for some of you, but this is a very great day. So,
Thanks.
All right. Well, thank you very, very much.
yep, have a great day.
Thanks, guys.
Yep.
Good luck out there. Good luck.
Stay safe.
Yep.
Oh, God, for everybody.
For Kurt?
Yeah, you too, buddy.
Maybe he already did.
Don't all have to go.
No, we've got more meeting left.
No.
Karen's gonna stay.
You're staying? Oh, look at, there wasn't room for you earlier.
Oh, no, I noticed that right away. I saw the overflow out there, so we're just talking about how they made the cut or not, and that's when they stepped out, so you guys can come in too. So I think that a feeling was left out.
Ooh.
We had 4 deputies out there, Jesse. And
Oh, why they didn't come in?
well, they eventually did at the end, but that's what I said. Well, how'd they get in? You didn't, you know. What did you guys do wrong?
Well, the door was blocked by our new
Oh,
staff.
yeah, it was, you could tell.
Yeah, they were on duty guarding us.
Better than 5 minutes late, right?
Board is on a roll. You're next.
Yeah, you're on it.
I had the warning from Ashley that I went in a little early, but
Yeah.
I kind of questioned her information when standing room only. So that looks more like you're behind.
Good day for Polk County right now.
Yeah, it's nice, especially when everyone's looking to hire law enforcement. So it's good and big day for them too. So, all right. So you want to keep rolling? First item up would be adjusting the solid waste fee assessment for next year. Again, this is the special solid waste assessment that appears on the tax statement. There's different categories that's in the handout for different levels of residential, and then the non-residential assessment is a volume-based deal that's based off of the hauler records that we get every year. So we're looking at is this goes in conjunction with the next item, which is the increase in the tip fees that were discussed earlier and went through the budget process and the bond review process. So we recommended make changes to that. So this would be the Polk County only portion of that. That would be that residential assessment and non-residential assessment. And looking at about on average about 17% increase is what that would come in at. When you do these things, it's hard to come in at 15 or 20 or 12 because the numbers don't work real well. It makes more sense to have them be whole numbers that you can just then kick in throughout the thing. So you get down in the non-residential, that's where you see most of the change, especially with the bigger dollar figures. It's hard. So you'll see jump from 13% to 18%, 14%. They just waffle back and forth. There's a bigger increase on the lower end. The lower end has never been really in line. You see that the intervals between things tend to be pretty uniform, generally, except for that low one. When you factor in just barely having anything, it pulls the average down when you do that. So try and bring that more up in line. And that's why you see the larger increase going to 225s to 250s, basically doubling again. They start getting staggered amounts. On the residential side, you're seeing basically if you added those up, you come out at 168. 166 doesn't really add up real well, so it's just easier to put it at 170, 120, keep that amount throughout. The residential usually sees more benefit on that because we take an awful lot of things in from residents that we don't take in from businesses. Tires, we charge for tires. Residents, we take in the tires for free up to a certain amount. If someone's got a farm, they're writing in under their resident and they have 250 tires, that's going to obviously blow the budget. Most people, if they're replacing tires on 2 vehicles, it's 8 tires. We take that pretty easily. We'll go up to 24 a year. So
See, I never throw my little ones off my utility trailers and that didn't know I could or should.
you can technically it's illegal to go into the garbage tires when you get in these little tiny things like lawnmower tires and utility cart tires. I don't think that's really what they had in mind. Especially if they fit in a bag, we'd have no way of knowing.
Sure.
But it's pretty hard to sneak a passenger vehicle tire,
Sure.
truck tire, implement tire into there. So, and those costs have just skyrocketed. Almost everything has gone up. So,
I think when we met with the financial report, the first time you presented this document, and there you were looking at trying to be in the 17.5%. And, now for residential, over 8,000, that's showing a 21% increase. And I think that's tough. People with homes have had to deal with insurance increases. I don't know what the percentage those were. Utilities, and there's some fees included with those now. Tax increases, inflation. I just would feel more comfortable with something more. I was actually hoping something in the 10 to 12%. And I think that's a little bit more reasonable. The fee right now is 140. With a 12%, 12.5%, you had indicated that would be around $158. Otherwise, it's going to go up to about 170. For some people, $30 or something like that maybe isn't a big deal. But for a lot of people living in our county, that is a lot. So I would like to see something in that 12.5%. I understand things have to go up. It's not a big loss of difference. I think it's a difference of maybe $11,000 from that, well, from all these groups, if we were changing to that. But and these are kind of divided in two areas: the 6101 through 61302 are pretty much residential, right? And then the ones with the SWC classification on this,
Yep.
those are more your commercial, your larger groups. Some of those just have one or two people in that particular group, depending on their value. So I guess I would like to see that, and if we have to come up with that other $11,000 to keep that interest rate down, I think that we could find that somewhere in the levy if we have to, or increasing the price of those people that are bringing in large items of tires and things like that, trying to move that pass on to those people that are bringing some additional items in. My thoughts.
You looking for the rest of them, or are you looking for mine?
Well, I guess others can make comments. And
when you've done your budget analysis on this topic, and I understand where Gary's coming from, how many years do you think you could hold this rate when you look at the costs you're looking at, so forth and so on? Could you hold these costs at a 3-year?
I would hope so, because we've held this at over 4 now.
that's what we've done. And that was a 15% increase, I think, at that particular time.
I didn't look at what the increase was when we did that in 2020, but that would be the goal. We generate more complaints. Even when we've adjusted the assessment down, we triggered complaints because people complain more about it changing than actually what the increase tends to be. So you don't want to do that adjustment every year. You hope to do it in a block. You build up early and then you spend down, and you try and keep things relatively flat.
And that's where I'm coming from. And I understand what Gary's saying, but if we can hold these rates, I'm a little more apt to say yes to this percentage increase. If we can hold these rates for even, I'll throw it out there, 5 years, or is that pushing the envelope?
Is it possible? It's possible, I think, based on what we know now. But 4 years ago, we wouldn't have, well, before the pandemic, we wouldn't have known we were going into what we did.
Yep.
We've had a hauling contract where no one bid it. We had to get quotes, and the only quote that we could get, they added about 40% to the hauling contract overnight.
Yep.
That's a couple $100,000 a year just for Polk County only budget. We're spending over $1 million a year on transportation cost of waste. So I actually have asked for a quote from our consultant to do a study on transportation where we look at getting into it. Our neighboring counties, Hubbard, Beltrami, have both done it. Now Red Lake County is looking at doing it. So it's becoming a big thing, trying to find someone that can run all those vehicles, deliver service. That if we were to get into that, there's going to be a cost for doing that, but there'd be a savings for doing that. But I don't believe that cost is going to go down anytime soon, and that contract will come up in the next 2 years if we let it go that far. If we see another 3% increase, no, we wouldn't be able to hold that for 5 years.
See, the current rate is the 140 for residential.
Correct.
The multi-residence is at 100. Do you consider just raising that one?
Well, again,
why that one is so much lower than
that one? What that is for the multi-residential is for having, these are we used to refer to as seasonal people. They have a home in Grand Forks. They have a cabin at the lake. What we were seeing is, and you can see it in the transfer station, the parking lot's full of North Dakota plates. So we thought, okay, most of the time they're spending in North Dakota, that person. They're getting rid of most of their household garbage, but they're bringing all the expensive things, their TVs, their tires, their appliances, everything else over. So that's why it used to be half. And so we raised that drastically for that. But you do have Polk County citizens. They have a house in Crookston or house in Fosston. They have a place at the lake, and they want to see a break because it doesn't matter where they throw out their tires or where they throw out their garbage. It's coming to Polk County, whether it's at the lake or not. So you're trying to split the difference and be fair to everybody. And that's why we set those that way. That's that second residential. The multi-residential is if you got a condo, apartment building, where you have those.
But if someone is living in, I think that happens now more now, doesn't it? Where more people are staying at the lake year round.
Year round, and then we bump them up to the residential. Usually just goes
So
by.
You know that. Okay.
Because it'd be homestead. Then.
Yep. So I think we fixed that about a decade ago, because that was, I personally knew people that were telling me they lived in Marshall County and bringing all their stuff because they had a place at.
Oh, I think that happens.
Maple Lake. I think it's the norm. We know we have people driving from the Twin Cities, and they'll drive their refrigerator 280 miles up to the lake because they can save $25, $30, and they're coming anyway, and they got a pickup. Same thing with their TVs. We take them for free. Down the Twin Cities, they have an event, or you take them back to Best Buy or whatever it is, and they're charging them $50, $75. So you're going to drive them up. So we know that. And if we don't provide that for free, we know they're going to end up in the ditch. We've seen that. That's why most of the counties around us are also doing the same thing.
I think you had a follow-up question.
Yes, I'm sorry.
The last rate, it was for a period of 4 years?
We adjusted it in 2020.
2020, okay.
And so again, when you're doing that 2020, you're doing off of 2019 numbers, which is you're just going into the pandemic at that point.
Whatever happens, if we ever go to the recycling bins by state law, if that comes.
The EPR? Well, it's law, so just what it looks like. I can't tell you, but that'll kick in 50% at 2029. 75% to 2030, 90% at 2031 every year after. And the Secretary of State did open the controlling board on that or committee is actually solicited by the Minnesota Secretary of State. That application period opened and closed already. I did put in to be on that. And I encourage the other facilities similar to ours, so the one in Alexandria, the one in Rochester, and the one in Perham, those members also to apply. There's 18 seats on it. The seats are specified by what you represent. So any of us could represent any from 3 to 5 seats on there. So you move it around, but try and get our representation on there. We know the private industry. I mean, as soon as that thing opened, the wraps on it. So
But that's fine, but these rates would be good until that kicks in then.
if we can hold 4 or 5 years, yes.
Sure. Okay.
And you would hope before that you have an idea because you know what's going to happen because they need to
Yes.
put their
yes,
plans
yes,
in
yes.
place and contracts in place. So,
That's what my question was. When does that kick in? You just answered that. That's good. Thanks.
Others?
I mean, I think, you know, I mean, first off, I have to remember that none of these expenses go, I mean, they're not levy dependent. I mean, it's by fees and that's how, you know, I mean, we are tasked with taking care of our residents' garbage.
Mhm.
And I mean, and it's a cost to us. And I mean, I think, you know, like you know, like with Mark, you know, it's if we can keep it, you know, for a period of time that, and I mean, like we've done the financial analysis and, you know, we've done the bonding, you know, with everything that's tied to this. And so, I mean, I think, you know, we have to do what we have to do in order to make ends meet too.
Well, and for in comparison to Beltrami and Hubbard, which are the other two big ones that have similar services and levels and aren't using general fund dollars to subsidize. Some of the counties like Monoma and Norman do. So theirs isn't resting solely on their assessment, but we're actually under what they're at, even with these changes. Their residents are over $200, I believe, is the last figure I heard. So,
Is there a process available to constituents or county people that if for whatever reason other than just I don't like the rate increase, but actual financial need that they can call and walk through the process of getting reduced?
on the residential side, not really. I mean, it's either your homestead or you're not. You either have a second property in Polk County you're paying the assessment on, or you don't. You know, so there's nothing there. On the commercial side, it's volume based. So if you if you're producing 5 yards a week, you know, it's a pretty large dumpster for a lot of businesses. And if half of it's full of cardboard, they just didn't break the boxes down because it's volume based. The easiest way would be break the boxes down. Preferably like them to recycle it, but you drop that volume down and then you have that savings for the next year. You just encourage them to contact their hauler so that they're noting in there that their volume has dropped. I think, and we've discussed this once before, but I think it's been about a year and a half. I think the next iteration of this is changes to the solid waste ordinance, where we go back to we start charging based on the container size that the hauler puts out and the frequency of pickup. Because I can tell you what happens when we raise the rates. All of a sudden, the haulers start submitting volumes that change. They all seem to drop, so that they all tend to come in. I shouldn't say all of them, but some of them tend to come in a little bit lower than where they were before, and they get a savings, which when they drop is savings from what they would have been at, but it's still more than what they were paying. And because it's so, how would you put it, subjective, you're taking the driver's word on what it is. You got one hauler that's not doing that and one that is, you know, I think we need to just go away from that. I want to give them fair warning. I actually did last time we did the hauler's license, that this was coming. They should be looking at their accounts. It makes no sense you have a 3-yard container being picked up 5 times a week and then reporting 4 yards total. You know, you could cut three of those pickups off that service. You know, and of course they're getting charged for the service. This is just the tip fee. This is the cheapest part of their garbage bill. A lot of people just get into a system, or, you know, for whatever reason, and they don't alter it. Unless it's overflowing, they don't see a problem with it. You know, the bill is the same as it was before, so you don't pay attention to it.
Mark, you had a follow-up?
I'll make a motion that we, let me back up. I'm going to make a motion, but the average increase in the residential area is about 20% or
20%. The 20.1's a rounding. It's 20.7. The other one's 19.6 or
yep, which if we fix the rates like we did before for 4 years, that's only a 5% increase per year. I understand it's a hit the first year, but it's also fixed over the life of this term. So my motion's going to be to accept as presented, to lock the rates for 4 years and go forward.
Is that doable?
I can't tell you what things are going to be in 2 years, but I mean, it doesn't get changed unless it comes back up here.
Mm-hmm.
So whether you put in lock it for 4 years, I mean, if everything's going haywire, in 2 years, we'll be back up here again. If it holds for 6, we can find ways of not having to raise it. Not going to be up here until it has to be adjusted again. We won't just do it automatically at 4 years either way. But
It's a board decision.
yeah, no matter how you want to do it. So,
Chuck, you had a question?
No, I was just going to have John just remind the board what the purpose of the assessment is, because there was some discussion about finding other funds. One of the reasons why there's an assessment is that it only pertains to part of the county, not the whole county. So pulling, for instance, general fund funds means you're taxing people who aren't using the service. Other revenues, I'm not sure what other revenues there may be, but that's kind of the rationale behind the assessment.
And I don't like robbing Peter to pay Paul either. If we're going to, I like based on the fee, what the purpose of the fee is to pay. And there's, unfortunately, state of Minnesota is really driving these rates. And
yeah, for these, I mean, the prices are pretty transparent. You know, what you're paying is going to these activities. You know, if you're using general funds,
In this,
my life would be a lot easier if you want to use general funds, because you see an increase that shows up in the levy, they don't all contact us.
so this payment comes from your garbage hauler.
No,
This comes on your
this is on your tax
taxes.
statement.
That's
Right
what I
on
wanna
your
make sure,
statement.
yes.
And it's a special line item, so it'd be like in a street assessment. If they
Yeah,
do the
exactly.
street in front of your property,
Okay.
you get billed for it. Ditch assessment.
I got it,
Ambulance,
yes,
watershed, housing.
that's what I
all
thought.
Yeah, your garbage hauler is charging usually for a container rental and to
Yes.
pick it up at your curb and deliver it here. They shouldn't be charging you anything for tip fee or the 9 3/4, 17% tax that goes to the state.
Good deal.
They should be collecting that on their service only. Out of this, we pay that to
Okay.
the state. The tax is on the disposal.
I do commonly hear from city and county and state saying it's only a fee, it's not a tax. Well, there isn't a whole lot difference between the two.
Fee and the tax.
I mean, it's the same.
Just
The
which
only thing is churches are responsible. I think last year we had
Yeah.
someone come in and say, we don't have any garbage in our church, or one of the folks takes it, if there's a styrofoam cup or something like that, and we said, that's a fee is,
Doing it since 1996.
and I understand that. I'm just concerned that people take a look at the percent and say, wow, that's high.
And point taken to that argument, or discussion. But it's also on a yearly basis under my motion. 4 years, it's a 5% increase, which COLA is 3 point whatever.
Well,
It's not a 5% increase, it's a 21%
Well,
increase.
yes, but over the 4 years,
It would average, 5
it would
per,
average if we
hold it.
hold it.
Was there a second?
Second.
Further discussion? If not, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, aye. Anything else?
No, the next one is the tip fees that are driving a lot of this. So we made back up a bit. So we started the year at $80 a ton tip fee. It'd been like that for a few years. We had issues, if you remember, what happened with, we had a large volume of waste that was supposed to come in from a neighboring county. They delayed, didn't send it in. They'd worked out what we were told, an agreement to go another year to where they had been, and then that would come in. So knowing we had this big volume of waste coming in, which with the tip fee tied to it was a big revenue stream coming in, we did not raise tip fees when we should have. We put it off, trying to keep things low again for all of our customers and ourselves. We put it off when they delayed a year. We thought, oh, okay, it's one more year, we can deal with that. We were taking in a relatively small percentage, about 15-20% of their waste already. They told us they had no alternative. They had to come to us. And of course, we get to the end of that year, and they got another extension to stay where they were at, want us to carry it over. But notifying us officially in December that starting January 1, they weren't going to be there really messed with our budget. So the advisory board recommended and Polk agreed, and we told them, we're done dealing with you. We didn't just lose that additional waste coming in. We lost the 2,000 tons of waste, 160,000 a year we were getting already, and kick that out the door as well. So we talked to the advisory board. We raised the tip fee in July somewhat. We didn't know if that was going to be enough or not. Strongly suspect it wasn't. We'd already talked about what we might have to change it to at the end of the year, but we didn't want to wait and make the situation worse, have the hole bigger than it was. We went through the bonding process. They did the independent financial review. They made certain recommendations, and one of them is we should be raising all of our revenue streams, or our revenue streams 15%. So if you look at what it was at 80, we went to 85 effective July 1st. That 15% on the 80 would bring you 92. And so we went back to the advisory board, talked about this. The advisory board recommended raising the tip fee effective January 1 of 2025 to the $92 a ton. And so that's where we're at right now, is that's a recommendation to the county board. And that's what my recommendation is to do now, going from the 85 currently, which only went into effect July 1st, to the $92 a ton.
How many tons of tippage?
Does that apply to? For the 6-county group, over 70,000 tons of garbage.
Significant dollars.
Yeah. Our facilities are big operations $4 or $5 million each to run them. So
And is this average, below average, above average? Where are we? At the 92?
So for waste to energy facilities, Hennepin County is the cheapest. They're sitting around $55, $60 a ton.
Okay.
Perham, Pope Douglas facility in Alexandria, over $100 a ton, and have been for years.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
So there's a big range, and really what it is tonnage. We're the smallest waste energy facility in the country, not the state. We're out of the state too, but we're in the country. Hennepin County is the largest in the state. So I mean, the more tonnage you have, the more you can spread your overhead over. So that's where this comes up. Going back to the ERP law, there should be money coming in to help buy that down, because they're supposed to pay for the management of their product, and that's what we're doing. We're processing, managing their product. So is there relief on the horizon? There should be. How much? The law says what it should be, but again, what's eligible is going to be the battleground. And that's why I put in the app to get in there. I asked the other facilities to do the same. Hopefully we can get 2 or 3 representatives of the 18 group committee and have some good representation on there.
Is it Perm that has an automatic percentage increase every year?
Yes. And I know they've told me, but I don't remember what it is off the top of my head, but it's like 3%.
That's what I was going to say. I think it's 3%.
So whether their costs go up or not, their tip fee goes up 3%. And I think they're under contract for a few more years at that rate. So
Compost is at 45.
yes. Yeah, we adjusted all of those other things, so I wasn't looking to change those again. We should be getting more volume on compost. Hubbard County got their compost grant. We got ours for pulling it out of the waste stream. That contract is I believe it's going to be on my computer waiting for me to sign. So we can execute that. We'll be ordering that. The local shares already been bonded for, so that's all set to go. And then it's really, I have a letter going out to the area counties, not just our 6 county group, and our haulers, explain the EPR law and basically telling them, we need to know if you're planning on using us when this goes into effect, we need to know it. If we have to put on a second shift to process this when the time comes, you can't just do that overnight. There has to be planning. So
Could they potentially dump us too, though?
who dump us?
The ones that are with us now. Could they not be a part of us?
Our 6 county group, they're under contract for about another 14 years.
Okay, good. Okay.
And 5 of the 6 had been with us since 1988.
Okay, good.
So I don't think anyone's looking to go anywhere.
Okay.
We've had discussions about others wanting to come in and do stuff. The problem is our tip fees are really high for the alternative if you're going to a landfill.
Sure.
One of these mega landfills out in North Dakota or down the Twin Cities where they're handling, 250,000 tons of waste or whatever, they can get their tip fees down. And that's the issue. So, but with the processing things coming online, and when they look at the cost to recycle, if you look at the cost to manage all of your materials, we start becoming more competitive. And that's what you have to offer is that whole package.
The whole package, yes.
And that's what, the waste management's, Republic Services, BFI, that's what they can do. There's very few, especially public entities, that can do that. We're one of them.
Any other comments? If not, is there a motion to proceed?
So moved.
Joan, is there a second?
Second.
And second by Paul. Any further discussion? Effective January 1st, 25.
Yep.
Okay. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed? Much carried.
Thank you. How are we doing on time? I got a minute or two?
Yeah.
Okay. Just real quick update. The landfill hit substantial completion last Wednesday. So the contractors moved off site. I believe I haven't had another construction update since then because there's been a few other things going on, but I believe the withholding when it comes is going to be just for the erosion control and the seeding because you have to make sure it comes up next construction season. So we'll be getting what should be the last substantial pay request coming through. So that won't require any board action. It'll just be next spring. Things start growing again. There'd be that request to release the retainage and whatever's left on the contract. So that should be going. Our permit from the MPCA to use that landfill is not going very fast. They sent us what they call the second draft of that permit modification in mid-September. It's actually the first one that's been complete to review. So even though it's the second draft, the first one said there's changes yet to come, so it made it kind of pointless. I did respond to that yesterday evening. I'm sure that's going to, you saw that, and
I'm reading it right now.
I'm assuming that's going to trigger some comment. We do have to start putting frost protection in. Frost protection in a landfill is you have to put 6 feet of waste across the entire liner so that that plastic liner doesn't freeze, become brittle, crack, and leak. That's the whole point of the liner system. So you put what they call select waste in. You can do that either one of two ways. You can either shred it and break it up so you don't get long poles and
Sure.
two by fours, whatever that puncture the liner when you compact it, or you take waste that's already been compacted and push that out from the existing part of the landfill into the new part. That actually requires, because it's waste, that requires the PCA's approval to do that. A week and a half ago, I sent a letter to the enforcement division letting them know that we would be doing that without approval.
Did that go over?
It went over. You didn't ask well or not, but
Just saying.
in talking with the enforcement person, they were okay with it. I don't know that higher up that opinion is going to hold, or if they're going to be told no. So we will see. That's out there right now. Our consultant couldn't finish the construction, the as-built construction drawings to get the approval because the lab hasn't delivered the report. It was supposed to be in yesterday afternoon. They contacted them and told them it's going to be the end of the week. It's what it's looking like. So the state up until yesterday evening was probably okay with us doing that because they'd have all the paperwork anyway. Now they know they're not going to have the paperwork. So that's what kind of waiting for a response on. I was just asked this morning if we got the stuff in. It's like, I'm sending you the email you got yesterday that you didn't read. So no, it didn't come in. It's not going to come in on time. What do you want to do? And I haven't checked my phone since I've been here, but that was as of standing out in the hallway when the deputies were in here. So that's the most recent update there.
I got copied on it.
Yeah. I copied you on it.
Oh, I got it from Mr. Benke.
Oh, yeah. Did he send anything since then?
That was at 8:22. No.
Yep. Yeah, it's me sitting out in my truck out here. So that's it. Otherwise, it's just hate to say normal ins and outs, but that's kind of what it seems to be these days.
Updates on the C&D.
The C&D rules, or the nothing on the rules. They had the listening sessions around the state. My understanding, talking with a few people, they viewed it as informative, which is encouraging because the alternative would be they were just going through the motions. So hopefully they're going to take something out of it. You want to be positive. It's just drug on so long. It's hard to stay positive on it, but hopeful that they can figure this out and make it workable for everyone. We do have a meeting, the Senate bonding chair, Senator Pappas contacted Hubbard County because they were the lead author on the grant request, the bonding request last session. And she asked for a meeting with our group, and that is next Wednesday.
Yeah.
And so we'll have the 9 counties there. They asked specifically for elected officials to participate in that. We've talked to some of the tribal entities that were part of that. White Earth, I believe, is going to participate. They were very outspoken at one of the listening sessions, which I thought was wonderful. That really caught their attention. So they're going to participate. I believe it's the Cass County Commissioner is the president of AMC.
Neil.
And so he's agreed to lead the meeting on Wednesday.
Okay.
Was the last update. We met, solid waste people met a week ago, and we're trying to talk about what do they expect?
Right.
Are they expecting a lack of a better term, a dog and pony show, kind of the presentation thing? Do they just want to have a Q&A? Are they actually asking us for information in the meeting? Are we presenting to them? It was kind of unclear. So Josh at Hubbard was going to contact Rachel Carlson, the Senate bonding committee chair's assistant. What do you expect? We thought rather than, because a lot of it's going to be virtual, instead of having 50 little tiles on a screen and chaos, in my opinion, doing a virtual call with that many people and no real formal agenda. We should have one person lead it.
Yeah.
And that's
Neil.
where Neil was brought in. And he should be able to speak to it, not just in terms of the 9 county perspective, but hopefully he'll speak to this as a state concern.
Yep.
And maybe put a little more squarely on the Senate that this is a fix that if you're not going to make, there's no point in the state going around or the PCA going around to the state and telling everyone to emulate and copy what we did if it's not going to result in anything. So it's really kind of a put up or I won't use the follow through, but
Okay.
as we put it when we went and went door to door down at the Capitol to our elected officials, you either need to put the money behind this initiative to close all these landfills and transition to something else, or you have to stop the rulemaking process and let us stay with the status quo. But you can't do half and half. So that's where we're at. I'm done. Oh, is there another question?
No.
Oh,
Gary's running the meeting, not me.
I think that's it.
okay. Thank you.
Much. Sarah is next.
Whew. Not ready for fall. I like the warm temperature.
A little change from yesterday.
Well, I was at the arena yesterday and I was like, it is 74 degrees out and I'm inside an arena. This is a problem.
Oh,
But you were there at 8 o'clock, I bet. I heard that.
Yeah, they had fun. That's good.
Sure they did.
Okay, so the first item is out of state travel requests. So I have a couple here. The first is for Jason Flores, our new emergency preparedness and response coordinator for public health, to participate in the NACCHO Pathways to Recovery in an Aftermath of Disaster, which is a mouthful. Is our preparedness summit that happens nationally, and the state is recommending and supporting all emergency preparedness folks, but especially the new ones, to participate in this. So Sarah and Tammy from Norman Minoman are planning to go, and then our funds cover for Jason to go. So state's recommendation to participate in the National Preparedness Summit, and I support that as well. And so that's from in April in San Antonio. And then the second is a request that you've seen in the past. We haven't went for the last couple of years just because the timing and content wasn't the right fit. but this year recommending for Amy Vandenide and Ariel Netland, two of our nurses that work in our sexual and reproductive health program, to attend the contraceptive technology conference. It's fairly difficult for our nurses to get their applicable continuing ed credits, so they can get that, but also this is the best of the best in the nation for the work that they do. And it focuses on the clinical aspects of it, but also the community engagement pieces and working with vulnerable adults and young people. So want to support them in this way, and we have funds to do that as well. And this year it is in San Francisco in March. So I'd like to support those two attending that. So those are the three requests in this motion.
Is there a motion to proceed?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Discussion.
Now, Jason's position, did that come through one of the grants?
Yes, the RSG funding, correct. The Response Sustainability Grant.
Okay.
Sure did. Sure did. So he has his primary roles and responsibilities are for Polk County, but because RSG funding comes to the CHB, he also is working across into Norman Minoman. And so, for example, we just did a public health focused risk assessment and had deliverables due at the end of September for MDH, and then they will be reported to CDC. And so he did the risk assessment for the whole CHB. So that's an example of how that looks.
What is contraceptive technology?
So it's just called contraceptive technology. It's really just our sexual and reproductive health services work that we do. So it's clinical practice around birth control, around health education, around working with folks who might not be born in the United States, or where English isn't their primary language, or they might have a different sexual orientation, and so they might have unique health needs. So it's a variety of topics, but it's really everything from clinical practice to how do we serve as nurses in that space to provide our clients with the best services.
Okay.
Yeah, it's just a really broad term. I know the first time they went, I was like, is this about IT? And they're like, no. I'm like, okay, got it. But when you get into the agenda, it has nothing to do on the like charting or IT. It's all about clinical practice. So, and we have every single year that we've applied things that we learned there to our work. So we've seen everything come full circle. So it's super valuable. So happy to support them in that way.
Any further discussion? If not, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carries. Number 2, measles.
So if you haven't heard in the media, nationally and Minnesota are experiencing a measles outbreak. It started in May, I do believe. And as of last week, we had 52 confirmed cases. Currently, all of them are in the Twin Cities metropolitan area. Most of the cases thus far have been unvaccinated young children. And probably the most concerning thing to me is that 1/3 of those cases were hospitalized.
Oh,
And in Northwest Minnesota, one of our vulnerabilities is our ability to have pediatric specialty care. It's just not a thing. And so that's very concerning to me. Thankfully, so far, knock on wood, we have no confirmed cases in Polk County as of today, that is. And of course, measles is a serious disease that we watch and talk about a lot. And the Minnesota Department of Health and Department of Education, the last week in September, put out a joint letter to schools about the measles outbreak and about communicating with families. And we have been in communication with the schools because we work very closely with them. And we're meeting with the school nurses this week. And we have been asked to put out a letter or we've been advised to put out a letter or communication to parents and guardians of children who are not current on their MMR vaccine. So I'm just wanting to let you know that we're doing that. And then we'll be providing the information. And then, of course, the parents or guardians are free to do what they wish with that information. But sometimes what we find is that folks don't, especially after COVID, folks haven't been back to the doctor for a well child exam or related. And so they don't realize that their child is behind. We've had several situations where people have called and asked about their vaccination schedule and they're behind just because they haven't been in. And so we just want to make sure that they're informed and then they can make the decision that they want relative to that. The reason that we intend to send out the letter is because we want to make sure that no Polk County children are missed. There are some children that are homeschooled or they might go to a school and they might be not of like school age yet, so they might not be like in a database, for example, with early childhood to get the information. So we want to make sure that we're able to reach all children, and also then it doesn't put the burden on the schools as well because their school nurses are very busy and tight. So we're going to be visiting with the school nurses to make sure that we're sending out a letter with language that they're aware of and support, and also then we'll put that out. So just wanted to let you know that that's going to be happening.
What is the age for the MMR vaccine?
It's a series of 2, and you typically get it when you're a young child. And I'm trying to think of the ages when that it's people get it all the time. It's 1 and 3, right? Yeah. Okay. Because I was like, we always say 2 before school, like, and so I'm like, I think it's 1 and 3, but there's so many that I'm like, I don't want to speak incorrectly about that. But yes, we have had several people had to get catched up lately, or
A lot of people don't get them until right before school.
yeah, which is why I say 2 before school because that's what's easy for my brain to remember.
So, I like with the Amish community.
Mhm.
Now, like generally they don't do vaccines, correct? Or has that changed?
It really is dependent on the family. We do outreach to the various Amish communities at least yearly. And so it really depends on the family. There are definitely families that choose to vaccinate, and there's families that choose to do some vaccinations, and there's some that choose to not. So just like everyone else, it's really a variety.
But I'm just, like because I know like during COVID that
Mhm.
you reached out a lot more
Yes.
to them. So like now in a case like this,
Yes, we'll be reaching out to them again.
okay.
Mhm. And even before COVID, we had partnerships with the various Amish communities and did routine visits. We just didn't talk about it. We just did it. And so it just came more in the light in COVID. But we will continue to do that.
Yeah. Okay.
hmm And that is the intention to bring. We have specific folks within each of the communities identified that we share the information with them, and then they share the information with their peers. And that has worked really good.
In my growing up years, measles was almost an automatic.
Yes.
Is it different now? Is it more serious?
Well, we have the vaccine, so we haven't seen it for a while, which I think is why it's concerning that we're seeing the virus have the impact that it's had again.
Yeah, but I think we all had it, at least in my age group.
Mine too.
I remember oatmeal baths.
Oatmeal.
Really?
Pulling out all the
Had
stops.
measles.
Measles or chicken pox?
Or both.
Maybe it was, well, both. Yeah.
2-for-1 deal for you. So anyways, just wanted to let you know that we're going to be sending out that letter. So
We haven't had any issues with mumps in the last few years, have we? I mean, like we had that outbreak that one
yep,
year.
not recently, no. Thankfully.
Yeah, I felt so privileged at that shack meeting where Polk County got called out specifically.
Well, thankfully that has passed. Yes.
You have a resolution there.
No, just information. Just wanted to make sure that you're aware.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You're gonna do your report, communications.
Oh, I forgot about that. Oh my goodness, you
Yes,
guys.
we need
Okay.
that.
Oi. I haven't had enough coffee yet, clearly. Okay. So our communications report for the third quarter, I won't call out a ton of things, but one thing this is all data. We are tracking more closely who we're reaching with our community health education in terms of our social media and then how that outreach looks. So this is just a snapshot of who and what and how. So I really want to focus though on our community outreach efforts. The work, of course, of health and well-being in our community and across our county is doesn't happen alone, and so we are contributing to many different partnerships. And I think these are just a few fine examples of things that we've participated in across the county. So Night to Night and National Night Out, the East Grand Forks Showcase, Reintegration Fair, but we participate in our communities in a variety of different ways, and you can see that here. And I'm very proud of our team for meeting the community's needs in a variety of ways. We just recently began our community Narcan program to distribute that. We've done it so far in East Grand Forks, Crookston, and Boston, and we will be working with businesses going into the future. So happy about that. We just had our IBCLC, which is the highest credential for breastfeeding professionals. She just taught at the UND School of Medicine around breastfeeding skills. So training the next medical providers on breastfeeding assessment and skills. So we're being asked to show up in places that are very meaningful and will have impact going into the future. So I just think that's a really exciting thing. And without like going through all of these, there's a couple of pages right here of all of the different things that our folks participated in, everything from prenatal sort of to end of life and everything in between. So pretty happy about that. And also working, of course, with our partners. You can see that really screams out in here. So pretty happy about all of our partnership work. And then my favorite, the pictures at the end. So this is me in East Grand Forks with the MPCA funding that we have to benefit East Grand Forks. This is one of our community engagement sessions. This one on the right is our recent community health improvement partners meeting that we held in Fertile. This is the story trail at this one looks like it's at Castle Park. There's also one in Fertile at the Learning Center. This is at the Cairn Share. This is nature-based play. This is the Polk County Fair. This is our Canvas of Hope project that we did with adults around mental health and well-being. So all of these artists are Polk County residents. We were in the jail, we were in long-term care facilities, and sort of everything in between. This was at the Fiesta de Kirkston, where we did a similar initiative with kiddos. Rock and Rest tent at a community event. This is in Fertile on the river. And this was at a community event for Norman Minoman. Let's see, what do we got here? This was at a staff meeting or training? I can't remember. WIC conference that they just participated in. This is all of our WIC staff across Polk, Norman, Minoman, so women, infants, and children. This was at our all partners meeting for community health planning. This was in East Grand Forks and school vision screenings. So just fun to highlight the real deal, the everyday deal. So any questions?
No, just a couple things. Thanks for attending the District 3 meeting and
Yes.
giving an update on that. And then I understand that you're on a panel tomorrow, right?
I am on a panel. I'm on a couple panels coming up. Yes, I'm on a panel tomorrow for the Northwest Council of Collaboratives. Is that the one that you're referring to?
That's what I was referring to.
UMC.
Yes.
Hot topics for schools.
Yes.
Location has been changed.
Yeah, I saw that. Yes.
Where are we at now?
Heritage. I think it's that Heritage room.
Classroom?
Yep, there you go. Like you would know better than I. Yes, Heritage.
That'd be
Yes, there was a
Well, this
schedule.
looks very interesting. I mean, commissioners are
Mhm.
certainly invited, I'm sure.
Yes. Yes, it will be, it's good. The panel is made up of folks from lots of different disciplines. So I'm happy to participate on that and just talk through what we've been doing and share ideas. I think the thing that I love about the Northwest Council of Collaboratives is that we all work together in one way or another, but we also, each county is distinctively different as well. And so it's great to share ideas and to think through opportunities and how we can be the most efficient and effective. So happy to participate. That was very, very kind of them to ask me to participate. So happy to do
Surprised
that.
at how many people I knew on that list that
Yeah.
were gonna be there
Yeah.
from
Yeah.
different places.
Yep. It's a really good collaborative conversation. So always happy to participate. I'm going to be on the panel at the American Public Health Association National Conference next week as well in Minneapolis. So
Okay.
that's the other panel that I thought maybe you'd be talking
Mm.
about. I got voluntold for that. So it's all good.
Oh,
It's all good.
I'm always the best ones.
Yeah, it'll be great. I'm happy to talk. It's really about sharing Minnesota's experience with the work that we're doing with shared services and partnerships. So I'm always happy to cheerlead for us in that way. So,
Well, that's good.
all right. Thank you
Thank
so
you much.
much.
I will not be there tomorrow morning
Okay,
because I have to be in Thief River.
yeah, no problem.
So
It's all good.
Karen is up next.
Morning.
Morning.
Well, this
Waited a
morning,
long time.
Yeah.
You got in on a lot of good stuff though today.
said they were running early, so I wanted to make sure I was on time. Now we're late. All right, so we had a resignation in our office from an eligibility worker team leader. So I'm here this morning to request board approval to fill an eligibility worker team leader position and to fill any internal subsequent position vacancies occurring because of this action.
So move.
Is there a second?
Second,
Any further discussion?
So is this, I mean, they're leaving the agency as a whole or just work?
The person had been with us over 20 years and got a telework position with the state.
sure, likely story.
If not any further discussion, all those in favor say aye.
I,
Aye. Those opposed, motion carries.
Thank you.
You got it.
next time you need to be a little quicker.
Good day.
Mm.
You too.
I'm racing.
Yeah, we'll take a little 5-minute recess. Anything you have, Chuck, before we?
No,
Intro.
I made some comments on the budget. I apologize for being slow and not having more to you. That's going to change here. It's going to start coming, I think, a lot faster. I want to. I do have some discussions going with Abdo, as I brought up at the last meeting, working with them on buttoning up our ARPA usage. And that'll come back to the board very likely come in 2 weeks, considering what's going on with the next iteration of their proposal on finance director services. Get going on that and try to get them into working with me on some of the budget related things. I think there's some opportunity there that I want to take advantage of. The timing's perfect, so I'm kind of looking forward to that.
Is there any connection between the Ron decision and Abdo?
I didn't make a decision on Ron, and
No.
I only made
No,
a
but-
decision on
No, he
Abdo.
did not indicate that there was any.
Any problem that way?
No, I think we all know he was looking at a date, and it was just a matter of what worked well
Okay.
with him. So
Okay, well, that didn't speed it up then.
You'd have to ask him. I just
Okay,
he certainly didn't allude that to me,
all right.
and in the letter, he,
Not that it makes any difference. I was just
curious.
curious.
Sure.
so I've gone through and the budget's kind of once. Usually there's some low hanging fruit. I grabbed a few things out, try to get that levy request down, and some more things. I think the one thing I'm not quite sure yet is whether all the departments have adjusted the wages based on the tentative agreements that we've got out there. I did get kind of an unofficial. I just had somebody mention it to me that one of the groups has voted in favor of the contract, but I haven't seen anything on it. So usually about this time, Sherry up in social services and her staff start going through and double checking all the wage information in the proposed budgets, get them locked down so that we're as accurate as we could be. I think a lot of things changed since departments put their wages in early summer, midsummer. So I've got a ways to go, but I've done this before. I think we'll figure out where to get things and probably spend more time with you in your November meetings. And if I think we need another meeting in there, I might ask for one.
We might. You need to have some time to put that December 3rd report to the public and.
Get the
That's,
PowerPoint
I
done.
was gonna ask, the normal schedule was the 5th and the 19th, correct?
You're correct.
November,
For
yes.
November.
Yep, because I'll be gone the week of Thanksgiving, but
Yeah, the
Yes,
26th is, in the past, we've had another meeting on, would have been the 26th, but that would be 3 meetings in a row, so that's what we took out.
So we modified their schedule.
I wanna get it done as bad as anybody. I just have to focus on it. And bouncing through a number of things here. So
you're thinking the 26th or?
yeah,
The 12th or maybe.
I'm not thinking even at it.
Oh, you're not.
Saying it,
See where we're at on the 5th.
see where we're at in 2 weeks. Yeah.
Oh, I think that's.
Okay.
Yeah. I know this. We're closed on Veterans Day. I get a whole day where I can just crunch numbers.
Good to have a day like that.
It
really
helps.
is. It is.
Helps.
I understand. The one thing Ron did mention, and I think it does help us in the 25 budget now because we don't have to budget. We won't be budgeting his salary, and that gives us some flexibility to not have to pay for two different things, maybe. So,
Right, I think there'll be still some this going on. We're gonna spend the money on.
yeah.
I think I'm sure we can find some efficiencies here, capitalize on that. Anyway,
It's almost time to
yeah,
call Kendra.
we have a closed session here coming up. This was a late add to the agenda. As the board knows, the public may be aware that we've been in litigation regarding the roofing project at the juvenile detention facility. We had mediation yesterday, and the purpose of this is to discuss the status of that mediation. So I'd ask the board to make an action to go into closed session. Before I say that, there is nothing else on the agenda after this other than to come out of closed session. There will be no action taken on this item. So my suggestion is to essentially inform the public via the live stream that this we won't stay online for the live streaming, just to come back and close the meeting. Save everybody the wait.
It's a good plan.
So I'll move to close at 9:47.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carries.
Say goodbye to everybody.
She's on her way out.
Media representative.